Enjoying what he's doing. And speaking of someone who just brings joy to everyone who meets and knows her, this is our cleanup hitter spot, as Paul Daugherty said. So we expect someone to come in and hit a grand slam, and surely this will be the case. Deborah Mills-Scofield, strategic and innovation expert and advisor, a venture capitalist, a mentor, and speaker. Deb is passionate about helping companies and individuals see what's possible and make plans to achieve it. Deb helped create Brown University's cognitive science concentration and finished it in 3 years. Early in her career at Bell, she created one of AT&T's highest revenue generating patents. So I forgot to put inventor in her bio. Deb's articles in Harvard Business Review, which, by the way, this is how we met. I read one of her articles. I sent a tweet. Next thing I know, I met one of the most extraordinary people I've ever met in my life. Power of Twitter and writing, by the way. She has her own blog, contributes to various business books, all of it geared towards inspiring people to dream that they can achieve. And she gives them the tools and the mindset for them to make it happen. She's a partner at an early stage venture capital firm, Glengarry LLC. Today, Deb fosters innovation growth and others through her strategy and innovation consulting with mid to large size privately held companies with her students. And we're going to learn about students, the power of reverse mentoring and how it can bring joy and inspiration to you. She's an awesome follow on Twitter, daily inspirations with post a card to tell you how to be a better person. Follow her at DSCOFIELD, DS Scofield. Welcome back, Deb, to DisrupTV.
Thank you for having me, you guys.
We're super excited to have you. I
feel like I should be bronzed.
It's the perfect time to have you, right? I mean, we're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. We've had some experiences with what's been going on over the last 9 months. And now we have an opportunity to think about what we can do differently. And so want to know, what are leaders doing differently? What have you seen changes in terms of leadership styles and how people have actually, changed their outlook and perceptions, what people's expectations are. And I think they're all starting to form a new type of approach as we head out into the next couple months.
So what I've seen mainly with my clients is, number one, increased communication. So, like in real estate, it's location. Here it's communication. So I'm seeing that a lot. Going from tolerating work from home to embracing it to hybrid, and speeding up digital transformation, like immediate. So that's what I've seen, and a mind shift toward really focusing on human and system design. So rather than I create a discrete product or this, but really focusing on human-centered design and systems design. That's about it.
You are a new business model generation expert. So when you're coaching your clients, it's more than just modernizing legacy processes, leveraging technology. The real way to unleash their full potential is finding new revenue streams with new business model opportunities. Have you found that the pandemic was an accelerator for people to think beyond just, the cloud's going to help me do things faster, or mobile is going to allow me to work from anywhere, and really think about how do I gain, not gain market share, but be a market maker, as our good friend Saul Kaplan would remind us. Right. What business model innovation is all about. It's not market share taking, it's about market making.
Grow the pie.
No, totally seen that. And what I really try to get them to do is go back to value proposition. Who are you targeting? And what are their pains? What are their gains? Because if you don't get that right, you don't need to worry about a business model. And it's got to be from the other perspective. So that's been a real focus. And every single client, we've looked at new business models, new value props, because the world just changed, by 10 years. in 9 months or whatever.
No, true. We had last week, we had Scott D. Anthony, who was Clay Christensen's business partner for 20 years. Started as a student of his, but became a business partner at Innosight. And he said, yeah, jobs to be done. Like, you need to understand,
so
like
simple.
you just said. I know, it's the milkshake story from Clay Christensen,
Right.
late Clay Christensen. But when you say their pain points, and it's amazing how companies still struggle with understanding what success looks like from their customers' point of view. And by the way, as a VC, I'm sure you scrutinize the teams that are pitching to you, whether they have the acumen to understand the changing world, but also understand jobs to be done.
And it's acumen, but it's also more so desire, right?
Culture.
Because, well, this is how I think Kant's divine ought, it ought to be done. Yeah. What does the customer need from their perspective in their world with their constraints, not what you want it to be? And if you're going to get hooked up on that, forget it.
Yeah.
It's very much I, thou. It's about the other, not you.
Great advice.
It's a great point, right? And we got a little comment here. I don't know what this means. Permaquid Seafood, great snack place.
Oh, yes.
I figured, Bob, somewhere.
Oh, Permaquid Seafood.
Yep. It's the blue lobster in the back. Yeah.
Several nights a week. Yeah.
So, but hey, let's think about you. I mean, like, way you're interacting with clients, the way you're talking to them, how that changes in terms of communications. I mean, do you miss the physical meeting, like the random conversation that happens as you're in the hallway, right? Or is this going to be adequate enough going forward?
It's not, and I do miss it. And it's funny. One of my clients, I've had them for 15 years. This was how I really had to adapt. We all did. So last May, we went from a 4-day offsite retreat to 8 2.5-hour Zoom calls over 8 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
Ended up with an amazingly integrated, cool, tight, forward-looking plan. I mean, we thought we were doing 18 months. We did 5. And we all ended thinking, oh, well, next year, no problem. We can do our normal retreat. No, we can't.
Someone tried that with 500 people and got in trouble. I heard, but,
a biotech company.
Yeah.
A vaccine manufacturer. But
so it has changed that. I do miss that. But on the other hand, there's a lot more casual, like, just, can you chat? And so there's more spontaneous chat with my clients than I would have had under the old world. And it's also made us have to be much more thoughtful about what we're doing at those sessions. There's a lot more pre-read, pre-work. And I actually like it in the sense of you've got to be dedicated on doing your plan.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get away with it now. You're either in or you're out, because I'm not reminding you.
Yeah.
So
and you work with some, you work with digital native companies like Airbnb as a client. You work with some technology leaders for the past 3 decades, like Cisco. So some of these folks, obviously, I'm sure are, they get the Zoom, they get the social, they get the text. They're tech companies and they're digital natives. Are all your clients, adapt to this environment? And by the way, we've had other VCs on the show, and universally they've said it is harder to do this remotely because our senses, the way we read the room, the way we, follow the mannerisms, you can learn a lot from what's unsaid and how a person behaves in a room, and that's just not quite there, in this decentralized digital-only model. So you're not the first to say that it's harder, but I suspect clients are now getting used to it, and it may be the new normal. You're not going to hop on a plane for a 2-hour meeting.
No, you're not going to hop on a plane. And it's funny, from a VC, what?
Ray's going to do that.
I'm still going to do that.
Yeah, good for you.
1 million miles a year. Can't wait to go back. Yeah.
Have I got a face shield for you? But on the VC side, it is a little harder. On the client side, one thing I do like is it is harder for one of the people in the room to just kind of go like this and make their notes, where in a real world, it would be easier to do that. And I'm the one that has to call them out. But when you're all on a Zoom screen, everybody sees it. So it's harder to hide. That said, on the VC side, I do concur with that. But it's raised accountability quite a bit,
Sure.
which has been good.
Sure.
You know, I mean, I was sitting in Madera with a Rosewood Sandhill yesterday, and I got to tell you, it was just incredible. I hadn't had a chance to see people in a while. So we're having lunch outside. Someone else bumped in, hadn't seen someone there, talked to another conversation. Like, I could have stayed there for 4 hours. I mean, that craving of human interaction, the serendipity of someone popping in, I saw.
From Clubhouse. I don't know. I mean, it just sounds like it was from one room to another to another.
I got to ask you guys about one of my students invited me to Clubhouse. Oh, Dad, you're gonna love. And I'm just like, I'd rather read a book.
Ray, Deb, you would crush it on Clubhouse because you have a nice, soothing voice.
I'll put him to sleep.
Remarkable mastery of the language. But seriously, okay, you mentioned student. Okay, so, and I know you have officially mentored hundreds of students, maybe thousands. Wow. And okay, so I'm a junior at Brown. And so I got one more year before I joined the workforce. What advice would you give me from getting me ready from this world that did accelerate by 10 years, was massively impacted by the pandemic? We still have climate, we still have racial, we still have economic, we still have health, we still have trust deficit. It's gotten better, I think, but we still have a trust deficit. So what do you tell a junior who is ready to put a dent in the universe because she just read a Steve Jobs autobiography and might be shocked to realize that things may be a little bit different?
So in a weird way, and this is a bubble, and I know we're extremely privileged. Yes, what I've seen it with students is a bigger sense of urgency to make a difference. And so, some want to make their 10 million by the time they're 25. Some want to solve world hunger and poverty by the time they're 25. Wow. So it varies.
Is this because it's a Brown University example? Because I know you have very close tie to not only the Brown students, but executive leadership at Brown are mentees of yours. So it's an entire university spectrum.
Yeah, they're not as fun as the students. And in fact, I'm going to be a mentor to a design engineering grad program we're doing with RISD. And cool. They're not all going to be Brown undergrads, so it's going to be work. And I'm just putting it out. I'm a whatever with this. So most of a junior probably would have had internships by now. Mm-hmm. And what I really try to focus on with them is to understand who they are, who they want to be, who they don't want to be. That your core values you can set. Everything else is kind of up for grabs. It's like, you got your Lego set. There are a few blocks that aren't coming apart, but otherwise, everything else can get added and taken off. So you can continually redesign. So what do you want to think about learning, experience doing in the next 3 to 5 years? And what are the best places, companies, institutions, whatever, to go do that? That's and amazingly, it's hard to say this in a way, none of my kids, my students, have lost jobs or internships or opportunities during this.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's a privilege.
It is a privilege. It is a privilege. But I have to tell you, I didn't have a discussion when I was at undergrad or grad, or maybe the first 5 years of working, in terms of the importance of core values and understanding what brings you joy, and understanding success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking the way you do it. I think these were learnings in my probably 30s, not 20s.
Oh my
So-
gosh, these kids think about things we never thought about.
Wow.
And I learn, like all this discussion from the previous two on AI. So one of my kids does a lot with reinforced learning and robotics. And
Oh, wow.
some of the issues that they're dealing with in AI and on robotics and all this stuff are not different than 30 plus, I'll say, years ago when we created CogSci instead of doing AI. And it
Wow.
was that well, if you do AI, it's task-based. CogSci is neurocog-based. And there's still that division in AI.
Well, remember, AI was a dirty word back then, so.
Hey, I programmed in Lisp,
Oh,
which nobody knows now.
that's funny. I still remember taking Fortran and COBOL classes, but I don't want to mention that because with my short hair, people might think I'm younger than I really am.
Well, at least I started out with C. I never learned Fortran and COBOL. And I'm older than you.
Hey, you were creating multi-billion-dollar patents at Bell, so you were in a different group. I was in the basement, and you were.
But I got a plaque for that.
That's
Wow. Hey, actually, you know what? Talking about Dell, like, what was Michael back then like?
Oh no, Bell.
Bell Labs.
Bell.
Sorry,
Okay, I was
Bell.
like, that doesn't make sense. All right, so you were like Bell Labs back in the corporate research R&D world.
Oh,
So do you
I
think
didn't
we need
appreciate
that?
that.
Do we think we need again, like corporate research
yes.
and corporate research development? Because it feels like every company's gotten rid of that. So
Well, but even if they haven't, like Google X is
Yeah.
not what Bell Labs was.
Yep.
It's still more corporately driven. It's not as egalitarian. I could sit on the floor of Cheswick and Belvin, who wrote security for the internet. And I would sit on the floor in their rooms, in their offices.
Wow.
It was,
Wow.
I never experienced any kind of chauvinism or harassment or anything. It was
That
a
is
different
amazing.
world.
So we've gone backwards.
Oh, totally.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, getting Bill Cheswick.
That's a whole other
incredible.
show we got to talk about.
We gotta get him back, man. I mean, he was I remember him. He was like Lehigh University dude. So that's crazy. Well, I grew up in Allentown, so that's why.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
That's why I'm like
Well, I grew up
Cheswick.
in New Jersey, so.
Joyzy.
But
So that's
yeah.
amazing.
Any is there a book coming up or working on blogs? What's your next 12 months going to look like?
Everybody's like, write a book.
Yeah, I've been telling you that for 5 years.
I know. And Alex Osterwald tweeted it out 5 years ago. Deb's writing a book.
It's
I
hard.
don't know. I love working with my clients,
Yeah.
seeing them grow and hire more people and make money and pay taxes. And my students, and I don't have a desire to write a book.
Yeah.
You know,
You have
what
so
it
many
is?
great stories, but you know what? Your clients are benefiting from it,
Right.
and you're
And to
you're
me, so
changing
much seems so obvious. Like, you really have to say this stuff? Like, jobs
actually.
to be done?
You actually do.
I know.
That is still. I'm telling you, I'm in front of enough clients to know the jobs to be done reminder is a really important one. Still,
It's a great reminder. Look, here's the thing. I would say find two of your students to interview you and have them write the book, and it'll be really fun. And what will occur is like they'll think of the questions, they'll put it together, they'll get the
That's a
book,
great
and then
idea.
you just edit the manuscript.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be like one of the most awesome books. I mean,
Well-
to get that knowledge imparted and filtered through the lens of someone a little bit younger, and then filtered through the lens of people who are thinking differently, and then filtered again through peers, you're going to get some very interesting conversations.
Well,
Just a
they have been
mentorship.
keeping notes, and they
Yeah.
want to do FAQs. And I have kids who next semester want to create a Deb bot. So if they can't get a hold of
There is
me,
a way to replace us. There is a way to replace us here.
we will always have the original Deb and not the Deb bot on DisrupTV. We can promise you that.
but in case they need me and I can't get a hold of, do
I
a
love
Deb bot.
that.
Oy.
I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it's always great speaking with you. Always, always.
Always
Thank
great.
you, and you too.
Deb Mills-Scofield, strategic and innovation consulting, venture capitalist, mentor and advisor, innovation expert. You can find her at Mills-Scofield LLC and on Twitter at @DScofield, Scofield, for some interesting tweets and, of course, a blue lobster.
Thank you
Deb.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks a lot for being on the show. Happy Friday.
Grant.